I want to share something with you that took me quite a while to figure out. It took me a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of suffering actually, to realize something so painfully simple. So I want to shortcut this process for you, and really don't sleep on what I'm going to tell you in this video. This one recognition changed my entire relationship to myself for the rest of my life. This is not an over-exaggeration whatsoever, and this can actually just do the exact same thing for you. This is profoundly paradigm shifting, especially as you allow this insight to acquire some depth over time in your life. Right? So keep in mind that depth exists as you remain with something and apply it repeatedly. So it was my first meditation retreat, and I had this huge breakthrough on the final day of the retreat. And I really recognized how intelligent my body actually is. It was always signaling to me in every moment. It was always signaling valuable information to me. My energy flows, the flow of sensation, the holding patterns, the tensions in my body. I recognized that my body is continuously adapting to my self-concept, to my sense of who I am, to who I hold myself to be, to my beliefs. I recognize that not only are the mind and body one, but that mental phenomena, beliefs, thoughts, ideas, they actually get stored in the body. There's an energy to them that gets stored in the body. And this really began to just shift my paradigm on what spirituality really is. And something that's really important to me is this simple recognition. I actually have a lot of passion simply about talking about the body. So prior to that recognition that my body is this very complex, intelligent, energetic system that always talks to me, I had read a lot of books on spirituality, more than 100 at this point, and absolutely none of them ever pointed me towards my body. They weren't really showing me, they weren't telling me this. And I remember just thinking, why didn't any of the authors ever put this in their book? This is so simple now. I can see how my ego manifests in the form of just tensions, reactions, contractions, repressed energies. I could sense the ego in this very physiological way, in this sort of just contracting and expanding kind of way. So there was a bit of frustration that came with that, but I kept living my life. And then maybe around a month to a month and a half, about a month and a half after my first meditation retreat, I was listening to this interview with Tammy Simon. She's the owner of a publishing company called Sounds True, fantastic publishing company. She was just doing a bunch of interviews. It was on Audible. And this woman popped up, and her name was Judith Blackstone. And she was saying exactly what I was realizing, that the body is extremely wise, that it holds itself to these very rigid patterns according to the self-concept, and that these rigid patterns repress energies. They make you suffer a lot, right? You can't actually connect with life. They're like shields that get stuck in your body, right? And then life eventually rubs up on these hard spots inside you, and it causes a lot of pain, it causes a lot of suffering. So this woman, Judith Blackstone, was repeatedly saying like exactly what I was needing, exactly what I was needing next in my journey. So I purchased her book, Trauma in the Unbound Body, and it was just exactly what I was looking for. It was just this mix of awakening to fundamental consciousness and this integration of psychotherapy, and this like really began to shift me. This is, to this day, still one of my favorite books. And I remember prior to recognizing the wisdom of the body, I remember there was so much extra struggle. Right? This was many years ago at this point. There was so much unnecessary struggle because my body was always stuck in states of tension. This lack of regulation of the nervous system. And once I could really ground myself in the body, feel the flow of my sensations, really inhabit my body, my spiritual development, kind of like a hockey stick, it just started like skyrocketing. Like the growth started to just get exponential. Because I could very easily detect that, oh, the ego is not just, just like this thought, but it's this whole complex energetic system that's responsible for just resisting and repressing. And I sense it so much in my body. My body is always telling me this, right? All these emotions, all this suffering, all this energy, it just gets repressed and stored and stuck in the body. And this creates this sense of separate self. And as you can really begin to just alleviate yourself of exactly that, these rigid holding patterns, this inflexibility, all this stuff that gets stuck in the body, the ego just begins to really deconstruct. And this just really began to blow my mind. Not more and more spiritual teachers were really talking about how important this actually is. And spirituality is very broad. There's a lot to talk about that's very important, right? And different people will resonate with different things. But this is just going to be true for anyone who's in a body, right? Because your body isn't just this dumb hunk of meat. Your body is, like I keep saying, a highly intelligent, energetic system that always talks to you. And in a lot of my videos, I continuously teach, getting in touch with the body, regulate the nervous system, doing things that help your body to feel alive and vital, like eating a very healthy diet, eating for nutrition, not escaping, exercising, yoga, stretching, having flexibility in the body, regulating the nervous system. Because your beliefs, all this stuff, it actually gets stored in the body. A belief has this emotional charge attached to it that gets stuck and stored in the body. And once you're able to process the energy that is associated with those thoughts and those beliefs, the entire structure just kind of falls apart. It was like that game Jenga with the blocks, and you just kind of go right to the bottom and you just pull that one block and the whole tower just kind of comes crumbling down. It was this huge shortcut of just recognizing that, okay, I'm having thoughts, or I have these beliefs, and then my body starts reacting to them. I have a certain thought, my heart feels contracted. I have another thought, it opens up. Right? I have this one belief, there's this like rigidness in my body. I let it go, it opens. I was like, okay. So I was able to just continuously move with what opens me up more and more and more and more. And through this process of just opening up my body, I could really listen to my intrinsic motivation. I could actually really be authentic. I could actually express myself in a more truthful way. I could be more centered and grounded in myself. I actually had this deeper discernment that I didn't have before. And I have this belief, really, that without really getting in tune with your body, it basically becomes impossible to really live the best life that you can actually live. That it's basically impossible to really express yourself fully, openly, and authentically, because you're just cut off from so much of yourself. All your unconscious and subconscious patterns and programming, all this stuff gets stored in the body, the whole thing, as just energy patterns. Right? Your body from head to toe is just vibrating sensations, and it's not a stupid random vibrating sensation, but it's intelligent. It's like this beautiful symphony of flowing energy and vibration that is deeply wise. And our mind is just so ridiculously stupid. It comes in and it's just like, oh, body. And it just treats it like this dumb hunk of meat. But when you actually just are able to sustain your focused attention on your body and start feeling it, see plus feel, you begin to recognize more and more of what I'm talking about. Keep in mind that depth exists. And this is especially hard for a lot of people with a very unregulated nervous system, or people who feel very numb. People who have a very unhealthy body as well. Because we're so programmed to like escape ourselves continuously in our culture that there's usually this process of coming back into oneself, right? That takes time, right? Depth. So when I first recognized the importance of the body, it wasn't like a complete mastery of it. It was just like this new awareness just kind of popped up, came online, and I couldn't shut it off anymore. There was just this connection that was made, and it just locked into place. And I was like, okay, like I see now. I could really feel the flow of life. I could feel the intelligence of the nature of this existence very deeply. It was always flowing through me and speaking to me through my body. And this just kept deepening and deepening and deepening to the point where it's just the permanent way of being. I can't stop it even if I wanted to. Why would I want to stop? It feels so damn good. So I want to shortcut this process for you of just getting clear about the importance of your own body. Super simple insight, right? It's nothing complicated. It's just that we're always pulled away from it. Why? Why are we always pulled away from it? Why can't we just sit with ourselves? Right? All the unconscious stuff that we're avoiding is stuck in the body. And unfortunately, most people are super disassociated from it. And for those of you who are really serious, as you connect more and more and more and more to the body, you'll actually recognize that, like, oh yeah, my heart feels like tight and contracted and stuck, and like my gut is always tense and my shoulders always raised, and there's like just stuck energies and background feelings that are controlling me. Just emotions that are stuck in me that keep controlling me. Right? Because like I said, the emotion gets stuck in you and then it actually starts to repeat itself once it's repressed. The ego itself is a core mechanism of it is just like repressing. It's always contracting to create this sense of self. And as you just open up your body more, you surrender and like really physiologically open up, you get this taste of how physiological awakening kind of is. Right? I'm not reducing all of awakening to just physiology, but there is this element of just grounding yourself in the body. There's just this anchoring into the body that not only helps your spirituality, but everything helps you be grounded in the midst of your relationship, in the midst of your career. It helps you to actually listen to yourself, like I said. Without this connection, it's near impossible to truly listen to yourself because it's like the water's all muddied. So we're just trying to clean up the water in a sense. We're trying to process all the stuff that hasn't been processed. We're trying to regulate the nervous system. We're trying to get into the flow of sensation in our body, release the rigid holding patterns and tensions, and then just see what happens, experience life from there. And so much of our holding patterns are all stuck together from fear, really. That's what's going on here, is that we're so scared that we're always clenching our bodies, and that to open up requires this like letting go of fear. It requires this embrace of uncertainty, this deep vulnerability, this deep embrace that we once closed, this deep embrace of the present moment that we once closed down from. Typically when we're very young, because an infant doesn't have all this tension, all this stuff. It's just unconditionally open to the present. But then it starts to just viscerally detect fear, the reality of pain, impermanence, etc. And an infant doesn't know how to handle any of this stuff. It's too like scary for it, so we just close down and close down and close down. This happens really young to the point, and this happens over time, happens very young, and it happens over time to the point where by the time we're like 20 years old, we just experience ourselves, even before then, right? We just experience ourselves to be like this separate ego identity, and we don't even know what really just happened. We're completely ignorant of our own personal history and how our own self was constructed completely from nothing. It's just this spontaneously emerging energy. And it's not separate from anything. And just all this contraction in the body like holds it all there. So flip the paradigm from like the mind is intelligent and it's this all-knowing genius garbage to the body and the wisdom of the body. Flip it totally upside down. Really connect to your body. Your body knows what it actually needs. Your body knows its path. Your body has strategy to it as well. Not in the super like chess logical style strategy, but it knows, like the energy of it will actually tell you what to eat, what not to eat, what to do, what not to be doing, what's really aligned with you and what isn't aligned with you. And as you just follow your natural impulses that arise from the body, you actually slowly build a life that's really authentic to you. You are habitually taking actions in the direction of what is simply natural for you. This is what you really want in life. This is the stuff that you actually want. This is like your soul's path, and you see it forming in real time and feel it emerging from complete emptiness. Just kind of coming through you. And then to veer off path, there's like this pain that comes from it. You sense that this is like wrong. Because the body's so conditioned with a bunch of garbage typically, there has to be this deconditioning process that occurs. Typically. That's where a lot of meditation comes in, meditation retreats, yoga, really cleaning up your diet, stretching, really placing a lot of mindful attention on your body. Noticing like your sense of just numbness in the body, how much you disassociate, your unwillingness to actually connect to it as well, your fear of just being in the body, because it's there. Even just breath work as well. See, because there's so much conditioning, right, it's easy for people to be like, okay, Lucas, that all sounds nice, but it doesn't work for me, right? There's usually a process that gets you more and more connected to your body. There's got to be that deconditioning process. So I'd highly recommend reading the book, Trauma and the Unbound Body by Judith Blackstone. That's like a good way to begin to get the taste of it. The Body Keeps the Score is pretty good, but it's more advanced frameworks for the future of like healing. I love that book. It's kind of nerdy. Love that book. But Trauma and the Unbound Body are really good. Even Eckhart Tolle and the Pain Body is really good for this one. What else can I offer? Parts work as well. Just internal family systems therapy. That's extremely beneficial as well. Right? So really just trust in this process as well. You have to be very sincere to truly understand what I'm trying to give you in this video. Anyone who's not sincere isn't really going to get this. So that's it for this video. If you're interested in working with me, you can apply to do that. If you really care enough to do that, you'll find the link on your own. Take it easy.